Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another Daily Marvel Snap video. So today we unlocked the brand new Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Negasonic Teenage Warhead is a 3-cost 4-power that after any card is played there, destroy this card and that card. So my initial thoughts were we could use her in a good card list. Something that looks a little bit more like this, where you can potentially use her alongside another card on the last turn, so something like her and a Polaris. Her and a Maximus on the last turn after fighting to have initiative for the entire game. That way you can get the most use out of her. It's a surprise drop. It can win you those games. And overall, it felt clunky. It didn't feel like most of the time I wanted to do 3 costs on the last turn. And using her as a tempo drop was never a guaranteed good flip. Sometimes you can tempo her out on 4, maybe even on 3. She's a good counter to if you're running into Shuri and they're hiding it behind a Cosmo lane. If you have initiative going into turn 5, you can just drop Negasonic into the Cosmo lane, the Red Skull is going to explode. But that's few and far between. She definitely feels like a tech card in this deck. And then after that, I was thinking of like a Deadpool Null style deck, where you could either use her offensively to destroy your own cards, or defensively to destroy your opponents. And overall, it felt like she was okay, but it's still a Deadpool Null list. It still felt rather inconsistent. And to be completely clear, it was a Deadpool Null Nimrod, and it still didn't feel fantastic. And then finally, we landed on Death Wave. And I'm going to be really transparent, really honest here. She doesn't win us any of the games. We had a really good run with Death Wave. We blocked a lot of Galactus. We played against some Shuris. We were able to find wins along the way. I played extra games with this deck, trying to get a specific use for Negasonic. Didn't happen once. In my testing when I was not recording, I got a couple, but for this video, Negasonic might as well be just a dead card or a 4-power card that just kind of looks new, kind of looks expensive. But in every game, I am fairly certain that a lower cost Squirrel Girl or something that could have been destroyed a little bit more easily was more beneficial, especially since we already still have the Shang-Chi and Arrow to counter those Galactus, to counter Shuri. We don't have to worry so much as compared to other decks that may not have those counters in place. And so, all of this to say, although this has Negasonic in it, this is a Death Wave deck. Take out Negasonic, throw in Squirrel Girl, and I think this deck does really decently against the kind of uncertainty that the meta is in. And I was not one that I thought Death Wave was going to be one that I was like, hey, you should probably play this in the uncertainty. It's solid, it's decent, it does a decent amount of power consistently, it has a decent amount of disruption. I wouldn't say that it's going to long-term be tier 1, but while people are still testing, while they're still brewing, while they're still figuring out the meta, you can absolutely gain a lot of cubes by running Death Wave. And so with the not-so-brief deck explanation out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, next up we have Fasciamo Fanatic. The first location is Nova Roma. Now, I have tried Negasonic in a lot of shells. I tried it in a Deadpool deck. I tried it in a Null deck. I tried it in just a good card value deck. I tried it in a Silver Surfer deck. I tried it in a plethora of different decks, and they all felt just mediocre. It didn't feel like any of them, she was like the determining factor of, I had this card, it was the exact reason and exact way that we won. Never once did it feel like that. So they did Yondu, they did Lizard. I'm expecting a Galactus deck. And so if we see Wave, we're going to be fighting to gain initiative over them so that we could try to position their cards in a more advantageous way for ourselves. Because the Galactus is very prevalent, and that's why we still have Arrow slotted in. That and Shuri. I think Arrow is still going to be very impactful and very big against those decks. Oh no, I want to play Killmonger. I want to play Killmonger to take out their Yondu so that we have space to play our Arrow if that's what it comes down to, but I'm just going to skip here. The Doc Ock is big. Maybe it pulls our Killmonger? It does. And our Arrow is still free, so there's still a space in the left lane, except for we're not going to have that space in the left lane. Oh no, well, there's a space in their left lane, but not in ours. So them having Galactus is not great for us. We can pull it, but we can't do anything about it. Not a thing can be done about this Galactus play. So I'm actually going to skip here into a She-Hulk and a Shang-Chi. I think that's going to be our best bet against the Galactus play, and even then, I don't know that it's enough. We skip because we want to make sure we do not have initiative going into that last turn, and She-Hulk will help us push some power onto the board still. It's really unfortunate. If they go mid-range, I think we might lose this one. But by going last, we have a shot, so we're going to stick it out. Null, their null is going to be very big, but we're going to destroy it. A death, null. I don't think they didn't play a hood, so we don't have to worry about that. I think we're okay, maybe. So they play one card, and it's Kang. They're getting a read on this last turn, so they're getting their extra cubes worth. They know that we have a She-Hulk. They know we have Shang-Chi. And so if they have a way to beat it, I expect them to retreat, or I expect them to stay. Otherwise, I expect them to retreat. We're going to do the exact same play again. Now, if somehow they have a Cosmo, maybe they can find a way. I'm actually going to reverse the order in case they do Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I don't think they do, but it is a possibility for them to protect that lane. So they do retreat out. We do get the 2 cubes. Against the Galactus player, that feels good. It would have been better had we been able to block it with arrow, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and take our 2 cubes and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Hamster-O or Hamster D. I'm not sure which. I think it's Hamster D, or maybe it's O. I don't know. I'm back and forth on it. So the first location is Shuri's Lab. That's decent for us. Not great, but it's decent, especially with like Carnage. It can double that power. We can get some decent kind of traction with that lane. The second one is Mindscape, and that is not great for us. We definitely don't want to Mindscape in most cases. We do get a good use for our Shang-Chi here. I think we're going to just do an early Hood and Carnage. We're going to have to do everything a little bit earlier, so next turn we will probably Shang-Chi into a Negasonic, maybe in that lane or into another lane, to help kind of keep some protection on that lane after we switch hands. The Patriot is so unfortunate. That is a rather large monster they have. Depending on what else they can push into the lane, that doesn't look great for us. It's not a good look. We're not looking good, guys. Let's go ahead and do the Shang-Chi. We're going to take out the monster. That does help us quite a bit, but Patriot can typically have Brood, Mr. Sinister, Squirrel Girl. They can go wide in a number of ways, and depending on what they top deck, they might be able to find a way to make do with whatever they draw. We are going to go to the Shang-Chi. They go 2 cards here. One is Wave. Interesting. They go with the Wave, so we can't do our Demon. Oh, no. We're going to give them a Killmonger as well. Oof. Feels super bad. Because Demon is going to end up being 8 power. So I think we go ahead and do Arrow. I think we just get it out of the way. We rip the Band-Aid off. We do Arrow, knowing that their Demon is going to be at least 8 power on the board. And so then we just have to kind of try to maneuver that. We should have initiative going to this last turn. So I don't think we have to worry about Negasonic. Those are kind of the thoughts going through my mind. The Ultron is big. It does cap out the middle and the right lane, though, with a very specific amount of information. So the Demon can be 12, it can be 14 power over here. We already win this lane. All we have to do is win this one. I think Onslaught can do that unless they top deck Blue Marvel. Blue Marvel could absolutely destroy us. And I think we're going to try. We have initiative. We don't have to worry about Negasonic. They have the Demon. They have Negasonic. They have potentially Killmonger. That doesn't help them. If they top decked Blue Marvel, they do that and Demon, and they just wipe us out. And I don't think we can avoid it. It's one of those that they had a 1 out of 4 chance. They had a 25% chance. We're gonna roll those dice. Every time we're gonna roll those dice. They do end up retreating. We are gonna go ahead and take our 1 cube. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Marco Darko. They are running a Thanos list, so maybe we can get a few extra cards destroyed with like a Killmonger. Maybe we can make a couple of good things happen. The Subterranean is also relatively bad again for a Thanos. We do get the quick retreat. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Jace, and the first location is the Monster Metropolis. So the highest power card there is going to get an extra +3, so we're going to aim for maybe that being Death, maybe that being She-Hulk. But again, that really relies on us being able to destroy enough cards. And without having Squirrel Girl, after taking a look at this list, I think taking out Hood for Squirrel Girl would give it a lot more consistency. But we are going to use Hood, we're going to use Carnage, we're going to destroy 2 of the 4 cards that we need to be able to make Death free if we end up using Wave. And so we have our Demon, we have Brood, so if we needed to, I guess we can't destroy the Brood along with the Wave, and so we're pretty much stuck. They use the Yellow Jacket and Adam Warlock. We've been seeing a lot of Galactus. It seems like all of the Galactus enjoyers kind of rejoiced and reunited once the patch came down and said, you know what, we're gonna continue to play Galactus. Now that Arrow shouldn't be in every single deck, we are going to run Arrow, or we're gonna run Galactus. And now that Leech isn't as common, we're gonna run Galactus, and we are going to make you hate it. We're gonna use Arrow into mid. With the Electro, they have 6 energy here. We're going to use Arrow, we're going to pull it into New York. They snap back, so that's a little bit scary. But as long as we keep initiative here, we could hide maybe a Negasonic to keep the lead in a couple lanes. I don't know. They snap back. I think it's a little bit hasty because the Galactus does not trigger, my friend. You can't move out of New York. We are stuck. We will take the 4 cubes against Galactus. It seems like that is what people want to be the next big bad, but he's still very counterable. If you didn't just chunk Arrow to the side, she's playable, just much more difficult to play well. So we will take that win. Let's go ahead and jump over into one more. All right, next up we have Aminga. I was going to say Enigma. So they are still running Thanos. Let's see if we can maybe punish them for that. Murder World is good. That's going to help reduce the cost of our death. Unless they change it with Reality Stone, and if they do, we do have Killmonger as our backup condition to clear those 1-cost cards from the board as well. And so let's go ahead and we're going to hope for the best. So they do play 1 more card. It's Reality Stone, and it changes mid into Jotunheim. So their cards are going to actively get worse every single turn. So now I'm hesitant to even use Killmonger. I'm hesitant to use Killmonger here. I think we're just going to play Deathlock. We're not necessarily going to destroy anything. Let's see what they end up playing. All right, so that is unfortunate. Now, we could hide our Negasonic as like the last card here. Let's go ahead and do it. We're going to hide Negasonic and hope that 5 power is enough to overcome this, whatever this is, depending on what else they play. Hazard comes down. So we can't hide anything else behind Negasonic, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and do Wave. That's going to make our Death, or She-Hulk 2 Death. We didn't destroy me. Excuse me. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. So Khazar comes down. We can't do Killmonger anymore. Our Arrow is still Arrow. Our She-Hulk is still She-Hulk. Our Death is still Death. But none of them are that in a good way. We still might be able to get the win with Negasonic. That's what we're relying on here, is Negasonic to explode the opponent's chances. So if we can get the initiative in these 2, I think Dark Dimension... Oh no, they still reveal first. So it's off of whoever had it in that turn. Oof. That is, that's rough. So we still win. We just don't get any uses of Negasonic. So we are still able to make it happen. That is, we lost 2, we played 6. And so overall, Death Wave did really well, even with the very big downside of Negasonic not being used. So every single case where she was used, it could have been a Squirrel Girl that would have helped us enable our death a little bit more, rather than tempo playing Negasonic. And so this is more of a Death Wave deck with a little spice of Negasonic. I used her in my testing. I used her a couple times to like swing games like Rickety Bridge and do kind of cool things like that, but overall it seems inconsistent. I think she also fits into a value build, but figuring out the best way to slot her in is going to be a little bit tough. I don't think it's one that we're going to see a lot of play of very soon, but I think it's one that's kind of like Titania. It's going to take a little while. Once she bumps down into Series 4, we'll start seeing more experimentation. But as far as like the initial first impression, I'd say she's definitely a pass. Probably wait until Kitty Pryde comes out next week, and I think you'll be much better off. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and a comment down below. As always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.